Hi, I'm Rob and this is Gems of War. In this video I'm going to take a look in the Soulforge and give you my opinion on what I think is good and bad in there. What's worth crafting and what's worth running away from as if it was afflicted by the plague. I'll also give my #1 pick on what I think is the #1 Mythic in the Soulforge this week that is worth crafting if you do not have it already. But first things first, I'd always recommend popping to the shop and making sure you take a look at the latest troop. This is Spectral Colossus. These things only cost glory, so if you have some excess glory, they're always worth picking up. Do it every single week. And this one destroys all purple gems, gains reflect, and in my case 39 armor, boosted by gems destroyed. When you destroy gems, they're removed from the board with full effect as if they were matched. So if there was, say, 13 purple there, you would gain 13 purple to mana cost on anybody that uses purple at the same time. But he doesn't use purple, so you have to make sure you have some purple allies in our team at the same time. But that's an okay spell. Reflect is fairly decent. Gives back 50% of any incoming damage back to its caster, which if they're on low health is a really fun way to actually kill them, because they effectively kill themselves, which is a lot of fun. The traits are okay. The first one is nothing special. Undying is good. Immune to poison, disease, lycanthropy and deathmark. And armoured, reduced damage from scars by 25% can absolutely be handy. So if you've got the glory, I always recommend taking these all the way up to mythic level, because once you level this thing up to level 20, it's going to give you another level 20 troop from, in this case, Sword's Edge Kingdom, which is going to, in the end, help your power levels. Now, while we're here, I always grab the Spoils of War at the same time. Again, any excess glory you've got, you can grab these, gives you a bunch of event keys, some extra gold and some souls as well. So a few things that are handy there. Now onto the Soulforge itself. We'll take a look at the weapons first. I'm not going to go over the things that are here all the time, like Dawnstone, Heart of Xanathos, Soul of Xanathos, Duskbringer, etc. They're all reviewed in previous Soulforge videos, so take a look at the early ones to take a look at those if you need to. First one that's not here all the time is Blade of Nefertari. Deals damage to an enemy, and if the enemy uses purple mana, deathmark them. So to get the most out of this, we need an enemy team that uses primarily purple. So we're restricted that way, and even then the damage is not that good. So that's kind of completist and nothing particularly special about that at all. Now the ones near the top, all these ones are only there because I have the Soulforge to level 20. I'll look at those in a different video. But we have the Edge Blade, Cane Sword, Shield of the Edge and Ulf's Wolves. The first one is the Edged Blade, which is, for a blade to have an edge, that would be handy for a sword, wouldn't it? Let's face it. I don't know what happened there when they were naming that one. Did they have a meeting and all the devs were sitting around the table and, look, we got this new sword, anyone got any ideas for a name with a new sword? Someone sticks their hand up. The Edged Blade. The Edged Blade? Yeah, it's got a ring to it. A sword does need to have an edge, so yeah, we'll roll with that. This is called the Edged Blade, and here it is. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by Sword's Edge allies. Then creates a mix of 6 blue and yellow gems for each Sword's Edge ally. So we need basically an all Sword's Edge team to make this weapon viable, because even just with 3 Sword's Edge allies, you don't always get that combination that you actually require. So you do need an all Sword's Edge team to make this work. And even then, because this weapon uses green and brown, but creates blue and yellow, you actually need blue and yellow mana using allies from Sword's Edge too. So quite restricted on what you can do with this. But if you've got a team that fulfills those requirements, then it is definitely worth getting. Cane Sword. Another strangely named weapon. What's going on today? A weapon that doesn't know what it wants to be. In a world of humans where no one seems to know if they want to be male, female, pansexual, bisexual, trisexual or whatever. The weapons are at it now as well. This cane sword doesn't know what it wants to be, doesn't want to know if it's going to be a cane or a sword. Deals 39 damage to an enemy boosted by knight allies. Then creates a mix of 6 blue and red gems for each knight ally. So again, we need all knights in our team to make this weapon work properly. And again, it doesn't use the mana colours it generates itself, so they need to be knights that use blue and red mana colour. So another weapon which will only be viable if, again, you fulfill those requirements. Shield of the Edge. I presume this does a barrier or something. Remove all blue gems, deal damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. And if the enemy is from Sword's Edge, deal double damage. So, am I in a funny mood today, or am I just seeing things really funny? Because this is a Shield of the Edge, which deals damage and has no armor boosting or barrier creating abilities whatsoever. Surely if it's some sort of shield, would you just bash them with it? Just go, yeah, take that, mate. Oof, have that. Deals 37 damage to an enemy anyway, boosted by those gems removed, with no effect when you remove blue gems. So this is an okay counter to a blue team, because you're not going to benefit for those blue gems, but it is decent to actually remove them. And you need the enemy to be from Sword's Edge to deal that double damage as well. So another restrictive, a very situational weapon. And Ulf's Wolves deals true damage to an enemy, and if they are undead, eliminate all armor. Hey? Hang on. Am I in a weird mood today, or is there something just off about all these weapons? Deal true damage to an enemy, and if they're undead, eliminate all armor. What's the point in that? Normally, if you do true damage, you're going to be in an all true damage team. So what is the point of the second part of the spell, eliminating all armor? Or am I missing something? Anyway, it's there. And yeah, okay. On to the troops. Similar to the weapons, all these ones that are here all the time. I'm not going to go over these ones because they're all reviewed in previous videos. But these 4 troops are not here all the time. And the first one, in reverse order, is Undyne. Deals damage to an enemy and the next enemy below, boosted by Merfolk and Submerged allies, submerge blue allies, and silence blue enemies. So an okay blue counter. This is a good way to counter blue teams, because silence stops the enemies collecting mana or being able to cast their spells, which is particularly handy. But Undyne has a bit of an issue these days, and believe it or not, that is that third trait. Submerge myself at the start of every turn. With Captain McCaw being around now, and basically if an enemy is submerged and he attacks them, he will kill them automatically. So if you've got this in your team and the enemy has scouted you and they can see that, then they can just put in a Captain McCaw and just kill this guy absolutely straight away. Of course, if you're playing a PvP type match where that is not an issue, then he's not too bad, but you do obviously need him to be above or near the top of the team, or when you cast it, sorry, to do damage to get the benefit of the next enemy below. So if you cast on the last troop, you're not going to get that extra damage. So he's okay, but I don't think it's anything special at the same time. Champion of Arnu is the kind of troop that needs to be in first place. Silences, stuns and drains all mana from an enemy, then deals damage to them and all enemies below them. So in the same sort of way, if you cast this on the troop at the bottom, or sorry, if you yeah, if you cast this on the enemy at the bottom, you're not going to do any more damage than just that enemy you cast it on. You need to cast this on the enemy at the top to deal with the most damage. So he's okay. The best thing about him is that third trait, all blue allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. So in an all blue team, he can be really effective, and he is best in first place due to that second trait as well. Reduced damage from skulls by 60% is pretty handy. Just needs to be in first place and primarily just deal damage to the enemy on top. But obviously, as the enemies disappear, it deals effectively less and less damage. But he's okay. I don't mind. Champion of Arnu. Gargantor is a bit of a strange troop. He's largely derided, it seems. Nobody seems to like him very much. He deals damage to an enemy boosted by all allies and enemies killed, which seems absolutely rubbish. Now his traits are a bit, hit and miss. Huge, gain 2 life on 4 or 5 gem matches is kind of weak. Impervious is good. Impervious is good in any old day of the week. But Dark Fury, gain 8 attack and magic when I take damage. Sounds great, but in real life it actually isn't, because when I take damage means when you take physical damage. So if you attacked it with true damage, this would work if you got attacked by true damage, because it's basically damage off your life. If you took normal damage, which was just off your armor, then that Dark Fury does not come into effect yet. That only comes into effect when your armor is either gone completely and you start taking damage to your life, or you receive true damage directly. So that is one thing to consider about that. And the boost ratio on this is times 15. So basically, when any ally or enemy is killed, that's going to add 15 to that attack. Now this can work okay if you use the right team. If you use a Princess Elspeth who've killed someone, or against a Sunbird team and things like this, because those respawns, when they, like the resurrection, whatever it's called, when it kills itself and then respawns, that counts as a kill. And that can boost up the damage on this quite quickly. So it is possible to get this doing some significant one-shot damage, but at the same time it's not that great either. So he's kind of in the land of good but not good, if you know what I mean. Mostly not good. The Worldbreaker. Now this thing's an absolute beast, but look at that mana cost, 30. Wow. Explodes 18 gems on the board, which is pretty much going to be a board wipe, because when you explode a gem, you explode the gem that you explode, and that destroys all the gems around it at the same time. And deals a significant amount of damage to all enemies. As well as that, he's got a great set of troops: Indigestible, Immunity to Devour, Infernal Armor, Reflect 25% of skull damage, and Insane Growth, gain 5 to a random skill on 4 or 5 gem matches. So all decent traits, a very, very good spell. Once this thing gets going, it's very hard to stop, because it just gets the whole team going in a hurry. And he's really good. It's just that mana cost. Very difficult to get going. You can't really have this in first place. You have to have it in third or fourth place, really. But once you've got a team and you get it going, it is a absolutely superb troop. Now on to the legendaries quickly. You've got 4 of them here. We've got Umberwolf. Deals damage to the first 2 enemies and places Hunter's Mark and Death Mark on them, and then transforms into a Nosferatu. So okay, but nothing special. You don't see that in a lot of teams these days. Magnus deals damage to all enemies boosted by diseased and poisoned enemies, then diseases and poisons all enemies. So he's okay, but it's a good damage to all enemies troop. Dullahan deals damage to an enemy boosted by ally and enemy deaths, then kill either the first enemy or first ally. Now that second part of that spell, or the third part of it even, effectively, the kill either the first enemy or first ally, seems a bit hit and miss, because surely you don't want it just deciding to kill the first ally. That would be silly. But if you've lost the first troop already, so this guy is, say, in 4th place in your team as it is, then it's actually not too bad, because he's got Headhunter as a trait, 50% chance to summon a Gargoyle when an enemy dies. And looking at the troops the devs have given us here on this, he actually pairs rather well with Gargantor, because if he happens to kill an ally, then Gargantor is going to get boosted. And then basically, Dullahan, obviously, 50% chance to summon a Gargoyle when an enemy dies. So you could get a quick replacement at the same time if you don't have another summon in the team somewhere. So not as bad as that actually initially seems, that troop there. Essenzia summons 1 to 3 dragon spirits, and if there was already a dragon spirit in the team, explode 10 gems. Now the summon is pretty decent, but the explode 10 gems is huge when it comes to mana generation. So you kind of want the dragon spirit in the team initially if you can, but another great thing about Essenzia is that third trait. All dragon allies start with 50% mana, and the second one's pretty good too. Summon a light storm at the start of the battle, which is yellow. So if you've got a primarily yellow team, that is a very, very good troop indeed. So my pick of the week on the Mythics absolutely goes to Worldbreaker, the best troop here. And second one I would probably give to just about Champion of Arnu. Yeah, definitely Worldbreaker first and Champion of Arnu second, I would say. So there's the Soulforge review. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, it'd be cool if you hit that like and subscribe button, because it really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. catch you again next time. Bye for now.